Hey everyone. So, in looking at this week's question about solving the disparity between the have and have-nots of colleges, I think that it's, a lot easier to talk about rather than actually do because there is such a wide disparity. I mean, in looking at it, especially in that last article, saying 25 of the 119 colleges were on the positive side of the bottom line, it just really kind of is an eye opener and kind of shocking. And in looking at my GA position, the one thing that we had to do this past year was do an audit. We had to go line by line and look and see, kind of making a template of what each what each item was and what was the justification of buying it. And I think creating something like that or having like an objective one to start off with and allocate different amounts of money, like a standard amount of money or even by percentage would be a good idea. And seeing, where creating one and comparing their records and seeing where they stand and seeing, prioritizing the three most important things being the salary, the grant, and the facilities in that order. And by facilities, I mean not these ridiculous like millions of dollars projects, more of like ensuring that the safety and operating are kind of, going off of the needs rather than the wants of the facilities. I think that seeing what they're spending their money on, down to the dollar, will show, what where there possibly could cut some stuff and see what the priorities of the school are and what's working and what isn't in order to be more efficient. Um, in addition, I think that one thing that we implement in club sports is a cap on expenditures. So, for example, if we have uniforms, they have a 3-year expenditure cap, and meaning that they can't buy the teams cannot touch the money to buy new uniforms every 3 years unless of an emergency. But looking at all of the gear that these teams get and brand new uniforms each year, if they're paying for them by the school and not by like donors, then I don't think that it's necessary. I think in addition, especially with the bigger schools like the Alabamas and the bigger like football schools, I think, and this applies to basketball too, looking at your recruits and looking at what you're investing in. Are you investing in a 4-year athlete or are you investing in a 1 or 2 year athlete that's looking to go to the pros? So are you really, recruiting after spending all that money on recruiting them, paying for their tuition? I mean, all of that adds up. Even if these 1 and 2 year kids, if you have some of those every year, that adds up. So, looking at that and kind of seeing where you want to go as far as maybe establishing a rule for recruits saying you can't enter the draft until after graduation, or doing something like that just so you know you're not wasting your money and your time. I think that would be another really good one. I also think that none of these changes are going to occur unless they come from the top and trickle down to the bottom. I mean, in all of the strategic management readings, it has to start at the top so it'll trickle down to the different areas. So if the university takes initiative and it trickles down to the athletic director to kind of save money and just go off of more of a needs basis rather than a wants, yeah, you might not get as much gear and free stuff, but at least you'll be operating in the black and not in the red. So, like I said, those are just a couple of ideas. I'm sure I'll probably think of some more as time goes on, but you know, I definitely think that there needs to be some sort of change because there are budget cuts every year, and you can't operate on a zero budget, especially with the future being unknown. So, I'll be back later. Thanks.